Good morrow. Today I'm going to show you how to make a bodice from either a tank top or a sweatshirt. So to start with, let's talk about what supplies you're going to need. You'll need a pair of scissors and some type of writing device to mark on the cloth, a Sharpie or a thin Sharpie. And for the final piece, you'll need some string to tie your bodice. So this most simple bodice you can make is from some type of tank top. So I found all of these items at the thrift store, and I recommend tank tops that don't have a lot of design on them. Try to find simple, solid colors. Tank tops are an easy way to make a bodice. They're a little flimsy though, because the material's not as thick as a sweatshirt. Let me show you how to make one from this. So this one has a design on it. However, I'm going to inside it out and see what it looks like that way. See if it looks solid on the other side, which it does. You can't see the design. So a simple way to make a bodice is to just cut down the middle of the front. Make sure you're not cutting through both of the sides, otherwise you'd ruin the back. And then after that, you'll need to make a series of holes. Make sure you have one at the very top and the very bottom. And I would make them around 2 inches apart. Just doing little snips, snips, and continue that all the way to the bottom. This kind of bodice will not last very long, but it serves the purpose for the day of the fair if you need a last-minute bodice. And then you would just lace it up. Okay. Another type of bodice you can make is from a vest of sorts, and vests are very common at thrift stores. They were popular in the 80s and 90s, so you can probably find a vest both for females or males. So for the males, it almost is as you would need it. You could cut the collar off if you wanted. You could even tear the buttons off and make a hole and put lacing on it, and that could serve as your bodice. This one's a little looser though, so it might serve better for a male. So let me show you how to make one from a sweatshirt. So I initially wanted to make one from this one. It was a nice solid color aside from this design, and I thought, oh, I could just inside it out, right? Wrong. Let me show you why. When you inside it out, right where you're going to need some of your strap in your bodice, it has that embroidery backing. So not a good idea. So I would look at the inside of it if it has a design. So I'm going to make one from this one instead. So ideally, if you're making a bodice from a sweatshirt, you should have a bodice to trace from. So you can borrow one. I have several. Anyone at Carmel Middle School who wants to make one, I have several you can use as a pattern. And you're just going to put the sleeves through like it's you. Try to flatten it out as best possible. What you might want to do first is inside it out. This one has a design on the front of it. And I'm going to cut the hoodie off. Okay, better. So inside it out. Tuck it through the arms. Okay, try to lay it flat. Make sure your bodice isn't caught anywhere. It's best to have a bodice that's small in size because you want it to be somewhat form-fitting or tight. If you get an extra large or large sweatshirt, it doesn't work as well. You want it to look a little snug. So you can even see this one has extra material. I'm just going to try to work around it. I'm going to pull it down a little. Okay, grab my Sharpie. I'm going to trace it. I'm even going to make the sleeves a little wider than what this is, just in case I make a mistake. I'm going to cut on the outside of it so you don't see the Sharpie marks later. So just trace it. It's okay if it's not perfect. So obviously that's going to have some fold in it, so I'll have to keep it folded when I cut. Flip it over carefully. Try to make sure that your strap didn't get askew. Follow the lines. Avoid marking the bodice you're tracing from, the pattern. Okay. I'm going to take off the sweatshirt. I'm just going to cut it out. Just like when doing the one from your tank top, make sure you're not cutting through the back too. So I'm going to make sure I lift it way off. Just start cutting along your lines. So the final piece you can see, I found this shirt at a thrift store. It's kind of, I want them a little loose and floppy. This one's made of silk. It was about $4. So the looser the better. And on the sweatshirt, a few tips after I've made it. In hindsight, I might recommend actually putting it in, not inside it out, so your Sharpie doesn't show. You can see the Sharpie marks on this one. Also, make sure that when you cut, it's even across. I made a few holes that didn't line up with one another, so make sure you're right side by side and you might cut. And then, let's see, anything else? That's pretty much it. So you can use shoelace for this, or you can get string from Beverly's. So, and the scraps you can use to wipe the floor or use as a rag, wash the car with. And if you have a hoodie, you can pretend to be a dungeon master. Huzzah! Okay, one more thing. If you don't have a bodice to trace it from, the general outline of it is going to be kind of like a tank top. So you can still sketch the general shape of a bodice. Try to make your sleeves a little wide, and then cut down, up, down. Let's try to make them matched. Okay, and then think of how you're going to cut down the middle, front, and you turn it over, peek at the other side to see where it lines up. And the same with the shoulder when you're doing the, try to make sure it lines up. It's okay if it's not perfect. And this, on the back, you don't want to go lower, as low as you did on the front side. Is. Okay. See where the line is down there. And just pretty much cut across. So, if you wanted to use a tank top, you could also like put your sweatshirt inside of it to get a general shape too. All right, round 3.